Our next speaker is about the power of partnerships. And I'd like to bring up the CEO of Duracell Powermat. And as he's coming on up, come on up, Ron Poliakine. A hearty round of applause. I'm excited to tell you that courtesy of Powermat, Duracell Powermat, we are giving away 25 special units. And I'm going to ask a magic word, and then the person who answers that magic word is going to win one during this session. And the magic word is, what can we charge with a Powermat? What's one device that we can charge? What do I hear? Give me a what? BlackBerry? Well, that's, not for long. What else? iPhone, cell phones. Oh, okay. Oh, wow, you are all so many winners. Okay, let me see. Who's ever wearing a blue shirt? Stand up. Okay, we have the first winner there and the second winner there. Those two are the proud winners for our color blue. Thank you. And now we're going to learn a little bit about the power partnerships, and I bet you're all wondering, what does that mean? It means when you combine Powermat with Duracell and Procter & Gamble, you get a powerful partnership. Thank you, Ron.
Okay, guys. Good morning, everybody. My name is Ron Poliakine, and I want to start with a good friend of all of us, I assume.
Where are we? Where are we at right now? And I feel where we are it's the cell phone. That's it. When you're not home, what's on your mind? What do you care about? What are you thinking? You're thinking you want to reach down and feel that hard rectangle. That's what you're thinking. When you're on that street, you want to be juiced up and packing. The rectangle. And it feels so good in the morning when it's charged, doesn't it? And you leave it. But of course, as the day wears on, the little buildings, they go down. The last one changes color. It kind of freaks you out. What's happening? I feel tired when the cell phone's running out. I don't have the same energy. I'm just trying to get to a charger. A call comes in. Listen, I don't know how much time I have left. I wish I could take back some of the things I've said.
Okay, so let's talk about business now. So a real business starts with a real pain, and I'm going to share with you some pain that I'm sure 90% of the people in the room know. This is a real pain. The battery panic attack is a real pain that all of us with smartphones experience every day. And it's very funny. If you go through the pattern of the usability, we have the best phones, and when it's full and charged, we're starting our day very dynamic, happy, doing GPS, gaming, taking photos, emails, even talking, and we feel very good about ourselves. An hour later, we're going to calculate, okay, it's going to last, maybe I should change some application right now. I should get down the GPS because I know how to get there anyways, and I should start thinking about where the next time I'm going to a charger. When it's getting to the red zone, this is where you get a panic attack. You shut down basically everything. You're just calculating, can I get this important call to my phone? And all of a sudden, a very, very smart phone is being shut down from so many capabilities only to receive a simple phone call. Something we did, 10, 15 years ago. Moreover, if you look at the numbers, it's very interesting. The second generation of cell phone provided 12 hours of battery. At that time, it was hard to surf the web, emails, etc. Third generation came about with some more capabilities, but then the battery life came down and down. 4G, to those of you that have 4G phone, it's impossible. You have so much capabilities, fast internet, you can do everything with it only after 5 hours you need to be worrying about not being able to get a phone call. And this is a real pain. The industry has been talking about it. I don't want to bore you with many statements that I think collectively represent a true problem for users of smartphone. Fast phone, dead batteries, and many other data points. In terms of consumers, we did a lot of research in Powermat, but also some various analysts. And surprisingly, the #1 consumer pain for smartphone is battery life. So this is where we call it a pain. It's very, very interesting because if you think about this sentence, we've never been more dependent on our device, but our device has never been less dependable. Think about it for a second. I think it's pretty much representing where we are. Well, I'm here to tell you that we have a solution. And talking about it, I think this is a true statement. Wireless power for wireless generation. And now I'm going to share with you one of our products that's coming up in New York next week, which is the user experience of a Powermat user in the city of New York. So I think the idea here, I don't know, you got some of it. The idea is that we're going to create an infrastructure around the city to allow a quick charging stations wherever you go. Many people are dealing with battery life. There's been huge amount of work about energy storage, and maybe it will come one day. But as long as the phone becomes smarter and smarter and the need for access to energy is there, we think that there is a real power of creating an infrastructure, next generation grid, if you will, of smart charging devices, and we'll talk about it much more in a few minutes. Many of you here are VCs or investors and analysts, and it's important to say that this market is going to be very, very big. Today, if you look at any chipset maker, handset maker, carrier, automotive player, each one of them has some program associated with a feature of wireless charging. Even the World Economic Forum announced that wireless charging is one of the top 10 technologies for 2012, and the comparison between wireless charging and Wi-Fi is very relevant, and we'll talk about it in a minute. In terms of numbers, this is an iSupply, which is a leading analyst for component markets, talking about a multi-billion-dollar market within a few years. The blue color represents the retail sales. The green color represents the component side of it. And it's going to meet us everywhere. So the concept, again, how do we get the anxiety level, the panic level down by providing a quick access to power? So think about the concept of, in terms of expectation, when you checked in this hotel today, you expected to get Wi-Fi. So already Wi-Fi is an expectation that consumer has. You expect to get email down to your smartphone. But remember, only 5 years ago, you had many, many cords coming off each meeting room, and you had to plug in, and the expectation that Wi-Fi will be broadly distributed was kind of a fantasy. We believe that wireless charging as an infrastructure has the same kind of analogy. It's a good analogy, and we believe that within few years, you would check into the hotel, you would expect to drop your phone on the desk instead of crawling behind the desk, right? That everybody knows, I think, this experience, and expect to get the right amount of energy to your smartphone. We are already in the midst of installing with various partners that I'll talk about, those access points. We call it hotspot, actually, in cars with General Motors, in airports, in universities, on retail places, in coffee chains, in carrier stores, and in home residence. And this is something that is coming about. And the more access point to power we'll have in the urban environment, we assume that we'll have less anxiety around the battery life. So really, I think I'm talking at the Israel conference and talking about the Israeli companies. And the real question is how a young company from Israel, outside of Jerusalem, from next to the village of Abu Ghosh, I don't know who of you know, that has very famous for the hummus, is gaining 80% market share in this exciting industry. So the simple answer is really, in my opinion, is simply luck, which is important. And then, I want to share with you some 4 insights that I have to how we grew this company into a market leader in today. So the first one talks about technology. We'll talk about it. The second one is partnership. Third one is consumer and consumer focus. And the fourth one is really investment. In terms of technology, I don't need to pitch and tell you about the Israeli technologies. But to start a company from Israel that supposedly wants to export the technology to the mass market, you need to have a very strong starting point. You need to have great R&D guys that are creative, that are innovative, that can think outside of the box and create the ultimate technology to solve the problem. In Israel, we're very fortunate to have many of those. Then, if you want to take this technology from the lab to mass production, you need world-class engineering. And many Israeli companies actually failed to do this change from a very, very cool demo to a product that is made in millions and millions of units. And this is another thing that you must have. The third thing, of course, is really talk about how you protect your technology. This is a very, very dangerous world, as we know. And many times when you come out of Israel, you're not aware of all the IP and protection that you need to surround your technology with. So it's very important to work on that. Now, let's assume that you have a great technology. How do you take it to the mass market? How from Israel with, at that time, maybe 12 guys that are very committed and they can hardly speak English, frankly speaking. How do you take it to mass market? How do you take it to Best Buy? How do you take it to be on every television show in the US? And the answer, simple answer, is partnership. It was our philosophy from the get-go that we created a great technology, which is a technology platform, but to get it to be everywhere, to get it to be into an infrastructure play, to be able to manage many of those access points, we need many touch points with the consumers. So we've identified some partners that are strategic and many partners that are as strategic in different areas. And that's for me. Battery slow. That's a good one. So I will not go through everyone, but we've so our ability to go to touch point with consumers really through P&G, the largest consumer product in the world. They liked our concept, they liked our innovation, and they're taking this product to retail and mass market. Duracell is the #1 power-related brand in the world. So we have a joint brand, Duracell Powermat. This is how we tell the story to consumers. General Motors have invested in the company and is a strategic partner, and they are committed by 2015 to place a platform in any of GM car that will be compatible with wireless charging. So when you come into the car, you just drop the phone and you can expect to leave the car with a full battery without the hassle of plug-in. Then Madison Square Garden is our partner. And we worked very hard for the last 24 months to tell our story to Best Buy and Walmart and AT&T and many other retailers. And to the extent they bought it, they became a very good partner for us. Other places like public arenas, I don't know how many of you saw our systems in many of the airports, many of the cafes and universities. So we go and pitch the story of the future. How cool will it be to charge your phone without the anxiety level of carrying a charger and looking for a socket? And we're very successful at that. The other side of it, and this has to do with the standards. You need to work with the IEEE, with the Consumer Electronic Association. Make sure that you're aligned standard-wise to create this industry to reality. The next one is really consumer focus, and I can pitch about it, but in reality, we came out with products that were okay. We talked to our consumers. We made a lot of research. We tried to improve, and the continuous process of listening to our consumers, not get offended by the feedback, just get challenged to improve and keep improve the packaging, the technology, the offering, the price point, the visibility is something that you need to do. And the last one, of course, talking about investment. I mean, many of you here are investors, and like any startup from Israel, we had to raise money. So this is an ongoing process to find the right partners to join this vision, partners that can go with you for a long term, support this company. And really from an investment point of view, I want to talk about 3 areas. The first one, I think that for a consumer product technology company, you want to invest in consumers. And if you'll go to each one of our touch points with consumers, I'm sure if you've not already, you'll recognize that our level of execution is very, very high. The next one is really make sure that the people that are working for you, not only in Israel, but the people that are the ambassadors of this technology into the OEs and the OEM partners into the market are best in class. And the last one, which is the most expensive one, if you have a vision and you think that in the future people will charge their phones wirelessly, and you want to create this category, it costs a lot of money. And you need to have this money, you need to have this deep pocket to put into long-term investment, assuming that it will pay off later on. So it's a long-term investment view. I want to share with you some of our latest production. Before then, I will say that we are very fortunate to have Jay-Z joining Powermat as a spokesperson, as investors, as someone that is living a very mobile life, very dynamic life, and we managed to sell him on our story, and he became a significant investor in the company. And as of 2 weeks from today, if you're in New York City and later on nationwide, you'll be able to recognize Jay-Z and Powermat. And this is part of our vehicles to take technology, which is complex and and done in Hebrew, all the way to the mass market, to the mainstream, with someone that many people that are our target audience can identify with. So I want to share with you some of the execution that you'll see in New York. So this is really, I don't know how many of you are really a fan of Jay-Z, but the taglines are from his rap songs, and the offering is kind of identifying with what he's doing. So huge amount of presence, just making sure that the story is going all the way from technology from Israel to the mainstream of New Yorkers in New York City, and later on in LA, Chicago, San Francisco, and nationwide. These are some of the executions. Okay. With that, I really want to thank you very much for the time. And I want to welcome you to the Power Revolution.